You're listening to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, episode number 57. Welcome to the Career Plus Life Catch-Up, a show anchored in reality to help you create a balanced life where you enjoy both your work and your life, because you don't have to choose. I'm your host, Cecile Ferry, a corporate executive turned coach and working mom. This is your place for insights, advice, and tools to optimize your career direction, balance, and confidence. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to this episode. So you have pressed play, and it's called Staying Calm. So my guess is maybe right now, maybe you've been feeling pretty stressed, and you're like, yes, I need that. So thank you for tuning in, and I really hope this podcast itself will give you that sense of calm. I'm actually really calm today, and this topic just popped into my mind because I think about that a lot in general. Looking at my clients, we always work a lot on overworking, on being so busy, having a lot of mental stress, a lot of pressure, and I think the blending of the lines between work and home that has come through the pandemic and working from home has definitely exacerbated that and has made it a lot more difficult to remain calm given how hard we work. But there is even more these days. Obviously, I'm talking about the war in Ukraine. There's a lot of people being agitated, and rightly so, fearful, anxious. There's a lot for our minds to take. And seriously, our minds have been under so much pressure in the last 2 years at least since the pandemic. A pressure that we are not humanly programmed to handle, especially not for that amount of time. So in essence, our amygdalas, sort of the back of our brain, that primitive part of our brains, have been smashed and continue to be smashed. So I think it's very fitting to talk about strategies to counteract that rising amount of stress and that constant amount of stress and push on our amygdalas, and to talk about simple, quick, effective methods to bring back some calm into our lives, whatever is going on in your own private life, but also in the world around you. So if we ladder everything that may be going on right now, no wonder we are all finding it difficult to be calm. There's a lot going on around the world, a lot of uncertainty. We have lots of work going on. We also have our life back in full swings. In a way, we wanted that. We missed out on so many activities and opportunities and things we like to do. And depending where you are in the world, most of us have got the ability back in our life. So in a way, we're not fully back to normal, but we're back to a level of activities that's quite similar to what it was pre-COVID. And the question is, are we going to go back there and being so stressed out like we used to be? So I think this question of staying calm is not going away anytime soon, and it's so topical. I read a lot about that in the latest development in psychology. If you follow the holistic psychologist, Dr. Nicole Leperda, you will see she talks a lot about the vagus nerve that is starting to come through a lot of the knowledge online, which is that nerve that connects our brain to virtually all parts of our body. And that nerve is, if you like, the calming nerve when there's a stress response. Dr. Leperda talks about ways to tone your vagus nerve, because basically if that nerve is healthy and strong, then you will be able to counteract that stress. Because let's face it, we cannot remove the stresses. They will always be there. It will be pointless for me to say, just go in a mountain and live like a hermit and you'll be fine. Like, who can do that in the world that we live? And the technology is right there to enabling that stress to reach us, unfortunately, 24/7. So the stress is there. What we can do though is learn how to best respond and monitor ourselves and look and care for ourselves so we have a really good vagus tone and we can get back to a place of calm when we are feeling triggered. So today, I thought I would keep it nice and simple and give you 12 practical tips on how to stay calm. And you can apply that to any situation, whether it's a stressful situation at work, at home, with a partner, with specific people, with relations to money. So just listen up, pick and choose, and just maybe hang on to one or two that really resonate with you today and try that as a result of the podcast. Are you ready? Let's get into it and let's start helping you feeling a lot calmer. All right, tip number 1 is to limit your news consumption. So, sorry, bad news for those of you who do love to listen to the news, who check out the news websites daily, because you're actually seeking to be reassured. You are looking for news that will appease you because you feel like if you know, you're in control and you will be able to manage your worries. But actually, those news sites, those news programs on TV, have you noticed they actually build to raise anxiety levels most of the time. When you listen to them, they're not telling you good news, happy news, that you are safe, that you're protected and things will be fine. They go right the other way because it drives ratings, and those companies make money at the end of the day from the ratings. So unfortunately, anxiety is a big audience driver. So you just need to look at the headlines. And as soon as you listen to the news, you will start feeling like things are going bad. Things are probably going to be even getting worse than they currently are. So that is a big problem that I have with the news. And a lot of people in my space, in personal development, do advise the same, to at least limit it, because too much of it is really not good for you. It's okay to want to know what is going on, but the less, the better, in my opinion. In my case, I don't even listen to the news. I just hear it from other people if there's something worthy happening. And I can't tell you how many distressing news I must have skipped in the last 5 to 7 years where I haven't listened to the news. And it's all those things that have helped my vagus nerve because I haven't been applying that kind of pressure that activates my nervous system as much. So just know it might feel very passive when you're watching the news, but your brain is absorbing those messages and it's directly impacting what's happening inside your body in terms of your hormones and your stress levels. You cannot not have a reaction. So that's the first one for me, is to cut yourself off and to get your news from reliable sources, from people, or if you find some news sources that are balanced and are not anxiety driven like most of the main media, then go for it. So my tip number 2 is to use music. Music is such a soothing way when especially you're being stressed. So it can be different things for different people. So you can just make yourself like a personalized playlist of songs that you know, so just watch your response. But when you listen to them, you should be flooded with that sense of calm and peace and safety and harmony. So for some of us, it's that very soft, quiet music, whether it's classical music, it's some piano, it's listening to the ocean waves crashing, it's listening to the rain, to the birds. I personally like listening to Kundalini yoga tracks on Spotify that are all very soothing. But if you want to go all the way to, from a scientific point of view, there are some tracks that are designed to match the healing frequency, which is 174 hertz. So you can just go on YouTube and type in 174 hertz music and you will find tracks for like over an hour, and they have some specific beats in them that are designed, and there's actually research backing this up, to show that those kind of auditory beat stimulation help with the vagus nerve toning and help calm you down. So there's actually full scientific evidence for it. But otherwise, you can just listen to tracks that you really enjoy. I also like those Tibetan bowls myself, that's sort of those ringing bells with vibration. I find them really soothing. But that's not for everyone. So just see what is in your taste. Maybe create yourself a little calming playlist that you can turn on when you know you're getting a little bit overwhelmed, you're really highly stressed during your day at work, and just press play on that. And a byproduct as well of music is you can also sing. That's an absolute bonus. When you sing, it really activates that vagus nerve as well, because there's a lot of air and breathing going on. Spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about that further in my tips. But so you can use the music and you can use the singing in whatever combination you like. It's really good for your soul and for your nervous system to sing. So don't worry about how well you sing, but just let it out, because that is actually really calming and soothing. My tip number 3 is one that is not new. I know you have heard it and you probably don't like it, but I'm going to tell you because it works. It's to cut down on caffeine. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, but it's well documented. Caffeine has a very specific impact in your body and raises your adrenaline system. And it raises the amount of adrenaline that your body produces as much as you like it, because it keeps you awake, where you should actually probably look more into getting more sleep so you have more energy, so you won't need the coffee as much. But really, caffeine, I just feel like caffeine, we've all grown up with it, but we're going to be the generation that needs to phase it out a little bit. And personally, I cut caffeine out of my life when I had a burnout. So that was 6 years ago. And it has been life-changing. And I wasn't even drinking lots of coffees, but I just switched it to decaf. And don't tell me, you coffee lovers, I love my coffee too. And I drink beautiful decaf coffee. So it might take you a bit of time to find the right brand or the right coffee shop that has nice decaf. But I can't tell you, and not just the impact on my stress levels, but also the impact on my body and my hormones and the like. So caffeine is probably not the greatest human invention, I would say. And switch to beautiful herbal teas. They also now these days so many different types with a lot of well-being benefits associated with them, beautiful plants. So that is a lot closer to nature than caffeine is. And it's so much better for your body. So if you just do one thing, is just try it. But you got to give it a try for about at least 3 weeks to see an impact in your body, not 5 days, right? And trust me, if you just trust me, I've done it and I still absolutely love my coffees during the day and I'm not as stressed thanks to it. So you can totally live caffeine free. Tip number 4, and sorry, I'm going through them in any order. I'm switching mindset versus well-being versus physical, mental, emotional, but you're going to get such a good mixed bag that you can pick and choose. So number 4 is making peace with uncertainty. And that is tough, right? Because if we can accept that there are things whose outcome we do not know, we do not control, we do not influence, and potentially will be bad, and we can still be okay with that and let it be, then we'll be a lot calmer. The problem is our mind is trying to make us control the uncontrollable. We want to know that the war is going to end. We want to know that COVID will be gone. We want to know that we can have a holiday like we have planned it during the year. We want to know that our kids are going to be fine, right? So there's all those things and they all come from really good intentions. But the fact is, there's a massive proportion in life that we do not control. But our minds don't know that. Our minds want to know. They want to control. If we can use our higher conscious state to override that desire that we have to know and to be sure and just accept. And a tip for me, I tell myself, well, maybe this will happen. Maybe it will not. It just maybe. And just be like, I don't know. And I'm just going to have to make peace with not knowing and not let myself being revved up by anxiety about it. So I really believe we have that ability to let it go, to make peace within ourselves with the fact that we don't know. And that sounds like such a small thing. It's pretty hard to know. especially if you grew up like me, believing that you could control a lot of things, that if you were organized, if you were prepared, if you knew enough, like you would prevent a lot of things. And that's how I grew up. But that doesn't help your anxiety level, because the reality is you can never be 100% prepared for anything that will happen. So there's always uncertainty. And I wasn't taught as a kid how to be okay with uncertainty and to even like learn to embrace it and just to try and make myself vulnerable. So I've had to relearn that as an adult, right? But I find I am much, much calmer when, nearly like, it's like, look at it like the 50% that's not going to go well, and just know that it could happen, and then you would deal with it. And you don't have to figure it out right now. I think that is a big leap versus right now feeling like, I've got to control this, I've got to change this, I've got to fix this, or I will have to make sure this doesn't happen. See, so that is an important mindset thing that can trip you up when you're trying to control something that you cannot control. Simple, but not easy. So tip number 5, it is to breathe. And I know you've heard that before, but you know what? It's not going away. I think we are all going to be hearing more and more about the power of our breath. There's more and more research backing it up. And yes, we don't like it because we find it difficult. We're not familiar with breath work. We're not even familiar with breathing. And I know a lot of you are like, breathing? Yeah, no thanks, right? And I was like you years ago. It's just not something that we grew up with. But I tell you what, there's so much research coming that way. There's now breath coaches that really coach highly successful people and deliver amazing results. And to be honest, all the medical evidence is there. Like the breath is the key to help with your vagus nerve. And it's coming like, it's that breathing from your belly, or as long and calm breathing as possible, because the shallow breathing that we all have when we're stressed, like we know it's up there, right, on our chest. And I wish I could give you all the tools, but this is the one. Like we human beings, we have those bodies. The breath is a huge calming tool for us. So I'm not saying start, doing breathing exercises for half an hour when you've never done them. But I just want you, if you have been resisting this idea, to just play around with it and just start opening yourself to the idea that maybe you can try that. But maybe you're comfortable with it and you've been meditating for a while. Meditation is a great way to incorporate that breath work, but it doesn't have to be. But it works. And because that's how your body is designed. So when you breathe, and especially you breathe several times, not just 3 times and it's over. You breathe, you hold your breath at the top for a few seconds, whatever you can handle, and then you exhale slowly. And you do that a couple of times. I guarantee you do that during the night, you go back to sleep. You do that in between 2 meetings, you do that before an exam, like that stuff works. So I don't know, maybe you need to look at some videos with breath coaches and just follow what they do. You need to take up sports like yoga where there's a lot of breathing involved. But I think if you've never tried, you should give it a go. I know it's hard because what we do is exactly the opposite. We stop breathing so often, or we barely breathe. But we have to rely on the art of breathing. Our society and our modern world has gone so far out into not really breathing, and I'm saying that really seriously, that we need to consciously bring it back in, because we've gone so far out of the boundaries of what we require as human beings, and we need to bring it back through dedicated practice. That's why it doesn't feel natural to us, but the results and the benefits are there. Tip number 6, limit contact with stressed out people. So that doesn't help, right? We all know those people who are extremely either busy, very hyperactive, have got very active minds themselves, And, all the way to having that frantic energy, like even when you're with them, they're moving, they're talking a lot, they're cutting you off, right? Or they will be like ruminating. You don't need those people because they have an impact on you. And I know sometimes you can't choose them because they're your kids or your partners. So you have to just try to distance yourself where you can. But other times it's like friends that just call you because they are revved up and they just call to like emotionally dump on you or mentally dump on you, and you're on the receiving end of that. So in order for you to stay calm, you have to actually have the awareness of the people around you that are not good for your nervous system. And I love doing that now in my life. On the other side too, like I see the people that are excellent for my nervous system. When I'm with them, I am calm. I am feeling at peace. I'm feeling safe, in harmony. And that goes on after I have seen them. So likewise, to just look at the both ends of the spectrum. Who are the people that are really revving your nervous system up and activating it? And who are the people that rebalance it? And just spend your time there. Tip number 7, calm your space. So your physical environment is like a mirror for your brain and your mind, right? You may not have realized that, but if there is chaos in your space, there will be chaos in your mind. And I'm not saying do a full-on decluttering condo style of your entire house, because I'm realistic here. This isn't a podcast about that. But what I'm saying is pick one space where you may be more stressed than another. So it could be where you're working, your office, or the corner of the table where you are. And think about how can I make this space calmer? Just have a look around. What are all the things that are cluttering the space or that may be inducing feelings that you don't particularly like? And what can you do to make this space more pleasant, more peaceful, and calmer for you? Is it comfortable enough for you? Is there enough light? Is it the right temperature? Is there too much noise? Like, look at all the things, and sometimes it's small things that you can do to get to that result. And if it's full of stuff, you just got to clean it up and tackle that, but the impact on your mind will be so worth it. And it can be your office, but it can also be your car. It can be your bedroom. So at the end of the day, you can really unwind in a space that's free from clutter. This has a huge impact, and you probably don't see it because your mind is used to the clutter. It's used to see it every day. It doesn't even take it in. It doesn't register it anymore. It doesn't have to. It's there every day. So if you change it, you disrupt the pattern in your mind, and you build a new neural pathway of, oh, wow. And you will feel it instantly. So do a bit of decluttering, do a bit of cleanup, or upgrade your space so it gives you good vibes. Super important. Tip number 8 is to stop and to take time for yourself. And I know when you're feeling stressed, this is the last thing you can think of, and you don't even think it's possible. But I'm here to say to you, this is exactly what you need. So again, you got to override the brain and the system that says, no, we can't. And you have to tell yourself, but I'm doing it. And you do it. And I cannot tell you how much calmer you will be. Does my voice sound calm today? Well, I could have just tackled my day with a big workload. But no, instead I decided to invest my time to take on a yoga class. And it was beautiful and so calming and soothing. And it just changed the entire trajectory for my day, I am sure. Whatever it is for you, but something that is calming. So usually going and lifting weight or running on the treadmill isn't exactly calming. So I recommend things like doing a yin yoga class, or have you tried getting a float if that's available where you are, or just go maybe for a quiet swim. Go for a calm walk in nature. Like, those might sound cliche, but you've got to do them. And that will change your entire day by just even doing half an hour or 45 minutes of one thing for, the 24 hours you have in every day. So that is time that you cannot not have in my mind when you're stressed. I just put that on first. It's like putting the oxygen mask on, right? So take the time, especially when you're the busiest. I practice that in my life all the time. That is exactly when I take time off to breathe, because that's when I need it the most. So go and pick that one activity that you're going to do right now and see how much calmer you feel afterwards. And just rinse and repeat. Tip number 9 won't be for everybody, but I have to mention it, is the exposure to cold. And again, that's documented scientifically. So if you feel up to it, try a cold shower. I'm not saying have a 10-minute cold shower. Do a normal shower like you normally would and just turn it gradually down for the last minute. And I've done that last year. I took that habit. But you got to do it for at least 3 weeks for it to really stick and to really impact you. And I can't tell you how much calmer I felt as a result. Because when this happens, the first time especially, it revs up your body, like you have this anxiety because you're not used to the cold. And then you see your body adjusting to it. And the key is just to breathe through it. And you will calm yourself. Then you will feel so much calmer. But even the fact that you can see that you can calm yourself from a level of stress is what actually does the trick. So if you feel up for it, just try it. Just 1 minute. So I count myself in my head when I'm in the shower at the end of it. And after about 3 weeks, it will be second nature anyway. But it will show you that you can handle stress and that your body is fine. And overall, it will lower that bar of stress quite significantly. So try it if that speaks to you. Tip number 10. Are you still with me? We've got 3 more to go. Is to unwind at the end of the day. That is a critical time. If you can just do one thing, start with that. So you need that space at the end of the day where you pretty much download all the stress. So that means you download your thoughts, and a really good one to do is on paper. So you journal, or if you have a to-do list all in your head, download it on paper so you know it's done, it's there, you don't have to remember it. And even just like creating space. So what I tend to do, I just sit in my bed and I just let my thought unwind and just kind of come out. Because I feel during the day, there's just so many conflicting thoughts that we have in priorities. But when you let yourself just be at the end of the day, you send the signal to your body that it's okay, like the calm has come. So it's like an anchor that you have. And again, you need to do it more than once for it to stick. But just create that practice, whatever speaks to you, whether it's journaling, it's listening to quiet music, it's doing a meditation, or it's just like me staring, gazing in the air, just quietly and just letting things unfold in my mind. Just have that space before bed. And if you want to know more about that, you can go and listen to episode number 36 in this podcast that talks about morning and evening routines. Those are really important to let your body catch up. Because if you don't do them, it will try to catch up during your sleep. And that is not what it's supposed to do then, right? So give it a break before bed, whatever that is for you. Tip number 11 is very similar to number 10, and it's to leave enough space during the day. So in other words, what not to do is to be back to back, go, no gaps throughout the day. And that is relentless. Even if you go at a normal pace, I'm not saying frantic all day long, but if you don't have those down times, those moments where you can just be, you can breathe, you can catch your breath, that is not going to help you staying calm. So, and in other words, too, having those act like as gatekeepers to prevent the overwhelm to come through. So it's like 10 minutes that you take where you quit the fast lane throughout your day. And I've been really bad at that, and I have identified myself, and now I've fixed that because I realized what was really revving my anxiety was that having no gaps all the time. And when I was doing something, I was already having to watch the time of the next thing that I had to do. And I realized I didn't want to live that way. So you will be calm where you give yourself just that amount of flex in between things. We might feel really productive by cramming and jamming, but the effect of that is we do not feel like we have the space to breathe, literally. So create some gaps. And my final tip, number 12, is to know your specific triggers and to have aware around them. And they're all going to be really different, but you know it. And you just watch yourself over the next week or so and notice what is going to make you more stressed and more anxious. For some of us, it will be to have to wait in line somewhere. For me, it used to be driving in traffic. And I got so used to it that I didn't even click. But then one day I was like, why am I always so activated and stressed when I am on the road? So I know it's a trigger for me. So now I make sure I leave super early so I don't have to stress about whatever else is going on the road or what other people are doing. And I can just breathe through and go really slowly. It helps. I don't get speeding tickets either, so that's another bonus. But traffic was a big trigger for me before. So what is your trigger? It could be in your environment. It could be at home. Like there will be things that absolutely squash the calm sense in you. Even like if you're coming back from yoga or relaxing activity and then something happens, and it could be a child screaming, and that happens too, then it's important to think about ways to protect yourself and to manage when those things happen so they don't just like get to you and just kill the calm that you're so preciously trying to create in other areas as well. So just know yourself and just tackle that one thing and think about different ways you could approach it so that it doesn't cost you your calm and peace. So that is it, my beautiful friends. Thank you for staying with me and listening to those 12 tips on how to stay calm. I hope you find this helpful. I hope you find some of them resonated with you and you have taken notes and you're going to start implementing them and see the results for yourself. And, I think this episode, unfortunately, will be relevant no matter what happens 6 months from now, a year from now. But the main thing to know is we have a toolkit and we have those strategies and we need to implement them intentionally. Unfortunately, we live in a world where the odds are against us when it comes to stress and calm. Like, leave it to chance, live your life at the mercy of what's going on around you. You will be stressed. I wish you wouldn't, but let's be realistic. You're kind of set up to fail there. So you need those defense strategies. And also you need to do them more than once because of the frequency of those kind of stress attacks from your environment and the technology and the complexity of our lives, right? So you're going to need to have like a scaffolding in place. And it has to be something that works for you, that feels comfortable, because we don't want to be stressed about trying to be calm. That's kind of counterproductive. So don't engage into activities that don't sit right with you. But you're going to need those things. And it's not just a luxury, or it's not just a self-care thing. This is like a well-being thing. This is to look after your mental health so that you can be at your best in your career, in your life, and everywhere else in between. So if you need some support with designing a structure that works for you, with finding some of those solutions, with analyzing what is triggering you, what is creating your stress, if it's about helping you with your mindset to find ways to be more at peace, life coaching will be perfect for you. You can go on my website, check it out at www.careercatchup.com/life coaching. This is such a powerful and important emotion we all need in our life. We might think we need the money and we need the career. Yes, but if you don't have calm, nothing will make it fulfilling for you or even enjoyable. So for me, calm is a non-negotiable foundation of my life. And I will take time off to just have a break so I can restore a sense of calm. I no longer sacrifice and compromise calm in my life. It is part of my life experience. In a way, it is part of my purpose. I refuse to live without calm, at least to some proportion in my life. And that's just a deal I've made with myself. And I really reap the benefits in terms of the quality of my life. And trust me, this is coming from a recovering, high achiever perfectionist. So if I can build some calm in my life, so can you. So I'm here to support you. Reach out if you want to work together on this. And please just start taking those little steps. And by you being calmer, you are right here at that. And more people will be calm around you too. So let's all work towards a much calmer world where we can all breathe and enjoy what we have as opposed to stress about what we don't or what could happen. Life will be so much easier from that end and people will be feeling so much better too. So take care, everyone. Have a super calm weekend or week, whatever is ahead of you. And I'll speak to you in the next episode. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to find out more information, you can visit my website at careercatchup.com. There you will find blog articles, free resources, a self-study course for your career direction, and ways to work with me. It's at careercatchup.com. I hope to continue to connect with you and support you. Talk to you soon.